Welcome, everybody. It is Friday night, NBA Picks and Props. You know what we do. Back at it once again. A lot to talk about in the world of basketball because there's a lot of stuff going on, including one of the main things. We are under a week away from the NBA trade deadline, so we have a lot to talk about with that. We don't get to talk a lot of trades on this show. We have not really yet all year, but we're going to definitely dive into that. Let me introduce my crew that is with me. First up, my man who probably, I don't want to say it's in a bad way, doesn't want to be here, but he's got a little bit more of an interest in the other kind of basketball. That's my man, the blackatologist, Jamal Murphy. Murph, what's up? How are you enjoying the crazy upsets in the first round of the NCAA tournament today?
Yo, there's NBA today? Like, that's still going on? I thought they paused for the NCAA tournament. I didn't know they still actually play. Yeah. I'm watching kids play for free. You know what I'm saying? Get exploited. You know, that's what I'm doing.
I love you. You're part of the problem.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'm part of the problem. You know, I still fight for the kids in my downtime, though. You know what I'm
saying? We appreciate that. It's definitely about the kids. Next up, Mr. Don't give a damn about 40-degree days. Jarod Hector. Jarod, we talked a little weather last time when we opened up the show, and it has not warmed up enough for my liking. But tomorrow is the first day of spring. Are you excited about that?
No. And let me tell you right now, it's just that level of excitement is what I have for this NCAA tournament. Shame on you, Murph, exploiting these damn kids out here in the streets. That's messed up, man.
The pros are slaves too, baby.
Shouts to our guy William C. Roden, $40 million slaves.
shout out to Mr. Roden for real. And last but not least, our resident Miami Heat fan, who probably he's smiling already. Look at this. Look at smiling already. All happy to root for Illinois because they got a Puerto Rican point guard on the team. Where's your Puerto Rican flag, brother? Where's your Puerto Rican flag?
Illinois covered, by the way, just so you know.
Okay. Yeah, they won by 29. I saw that. And Andre Curbelo had a nice nutmeg pass to Kofi Coburn, also from New York City. So shout out to both of them. Yeah, no, I'm good. I was just laughing at Murph's the pros are slaves too comment because I mean, you know, I'm just gonna leave it there. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even go any further. I'm not the person who should be saying anything here. Matter of fact, so y'all go ahead.
Sometimes it's like that, and there's nothing else left to be said.
Hey, man, what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. All right, let's get into things, guys. It is trade season. I know Brian's really excited to talk about this because he wants to talk about what his Heat are going to do, how they're going to add somebody into the culture. Although they already have added someone, we'll get to that a little bit later. A lot of names have been floating around from the beginning of the season in terms of looking at odds and what could happen in terms of who could be traded. So I wanted to ask you guys, who do you think is most likely to be moved? And if this player or whoever is moved, players, I should say, are moved, how much do you think that will affect the NBA championship odds? Now, before we start, I want to give to the people some odds that I came across about NBA trade deadline odds, and there's some interesting stuff. Now, some of the players have already been traded. PJ Tucker was even money to be traded. He has obviously been traded. It's been official today to the Milwaukee Bucks. We also have Trevor Ariza, who went to Brian's Miami Heat as they got Myers Leonard up out of there, as was pretty much expected. We also have people like Lonzo Ball. There's been a lot of talk odds that he'll be traded at plus 175. You got Kevin Love, who I don't even want to talk about Kevin Love on my fantasy team. He's disgusted me. Plus 350 for him. Andre Drummond, who's not played in the weeks, plus 175. Brian's boy, Kyle Lowry at plus 150. Eric Gordon at plus 125. Victor Oladipo, who's been linked to the Knicks, plus 110. Those are just a couple of the names. You got Bradley Beal. A lot of talks around him. His odds are at plus 700. KP, Kristaps Porzingis, at plus 650. Some of those guys with higher odds. Guys, I'm going to start with Jarod first on this. Who do you think is likely, if you, as a betting man, who would you bet on to be traded within the next 6 days?
I mean, you know, this trade deadline has been crazy, right? Because we know this time of year, GMs and agents, all of them lie. Like they, you know, it's all they do is lie to you. You ask them questions, you send a text message. Yeah. We've been talking about ain't shit happening, right? Like, or so-and-so's moving, nothing's going on. Look, I think the Oladipo contract's interesting because for all intents and purposes, it's expired, right? Like he did not sign an extension. So at the end of this year, I believe he's a free agent. So Oladipo is one that's interesting. That's money that comes off the caps. Eric Gordon, that dude's got 2 years left at like 18 or 19 each year, and a player option for 20 in that third year. Who the hell's taking that contract? I mean, I guess the sucker born every minute. Maybe somebody is, but I don't know.
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Yeah, those dummies. They might do some shit. I think Depot can move. I think Lonzo's interesting to move, right? Because his payday hasn't come yet, and Lonzo's perfect on a contending team. Why? Because here's what Lonzo does. He guards. By the way, Lonzo shooting 3-pointers at volume and percentage better than a lot of your favorite players, including Donovan Mitchell. Checked out the stats. So he's an interesting one. He's a ball mover, right? And he'll shoot open threes and he'll defend. I mean, thinking about championship teams that could use him. The one that I'm keeping my eye on, though, is Kyle Lowry, because that's the one that will change championship odds to me, particularly if he goes to the Clippers. But again, I don't know how the money works with the Clippers, because who wants Luke Kennard? Like, I mean, what else do you have money wise that's going to work there? And then, in terms of KP and who'd else? And Bradley Beal, Beal. Like good numbers there, plus 650, plus 700. But both their GMs and owners have come out and said we're not moving those guys. So take that for what it's worth.
Well, good names you brought up there. We'll get back into some of how this can affect championship odds. Bryan, you saw your Heat make a move. They acquired Trevor Ariza. They got Myers Leonard up out of there. Mickey Harrison was not going to look him in the eyes or face again. That was for sure. First of all, I'm sure you like that move because we know, bring anybody into Heat culture and they'll be okay. But,
and Trevor Ariza is also half Dominican. I just want to point that out.
Okay. Yeah. No, I love the repping for the Latino people. If there was some Grenadian basketball players, I'd be all repping for it too. I ain't even mad. I'm sure you like that move, but any other names that you would bet on in terms of being moved within the next 6 days?
I'm kind of with Jarod on the Kyle Lowry front. It's very difficult for me to discern like who's going to go first in this list, and everybody's odds are quite similar, which I found interesting. The Lonzo Ball one, if I'm the Knicks, we talked about this a little bit on the group chat. If I'm the Knicks, that's who I want to get. And the reason is because I'm thinking about, not this year, but I'm thinking about moving forward, a starting five of Lonzo Ball, RJ Barrett, who would be at the 3? No, actually, RJ Barrett would be at the 3. Emmanuel Quickley would be at the 2. Lonzo at the 1. Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. Would you be able to keep all those guys together if you were to try to get Lonzo Ball now? It's possible because they do have some picks and some young players that they haven't had before. And Lonzo Ball's contract is easy to match if you're willing to throw some young players into the mix. I would probably have to dangle Obi Toppin if that's the case. But if I have Julius Randle and I'm committed to him, so be it. Obi Toppin's already 22, 23 years old. He's, I think, as old as Lonzo Ball right now.
I'd have to think that the Pelicans will want Quickley, though, right?
Probably.
I would think so, too.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Like with Lonzo Ball, I mean, not to make this a Lonzo Ball conversation, but it's probably better you wait till free agency and just try to play chicken there, and then you wouldn't have to give up as much if you just signed the offer sheet and execute a sign and trade, because then the only thing that would be outgoing is like a first-round pick. So whatever, right? But Lonzo Ball is interesting to me. Kyle Lowry is somebody who I think almost has to get moved if you're Toronto. I don't think you could really afford to lose him for absolutely nothing. Not that I think you would get a ton. I think in a different year, you'd probably get a lot for Kyle Lowry. Right now, I mean, we did see Drew Holiday go for more picks than we expected, but I think that Kyle Lowry in a different stage, I don't think there are a lot of contenders who just have that much to give in order to try to get him, but I still think it would behoove Toronto to actually give him up. So other than that, I mean, there are some other interesting names on this list, but I'm kind of looking at both of those 2 point guards. I don't think Bradley Beal is going to get traded. CJ McCollum is further down on the list. I don't think he's going to get traded. I don't think Ben Simmons is going to get traded anytime soon, because that Simmons and Embiid thing seems to be working now with Doc Rivers. And even in the future, we all thought maybe they'll have to commit to one over the other, but we now know that it was a Brett Brown problem.
Yeah, we do know that.
Come on, we always knew that. We always knew that.
Right. We always knew that.
Bryan brings up a point, and Jarod brought this up too, about Murph, that you don't know if there'll even be that much activity. It's really kind of hard to predict that. You would think names like Lowry should go, and I think we know the names that probably won't go on the higher end of the odds. Do you think there'll be activity? Do you think there'll be a move here, or will this be kind of a quiet deadline?
Yeah, I think it's going to be quiet, but also I don't really see anything significant You know, the Lonzo, like you said, maybe he could help the Knicks. He could help even the Clippers. But I haven't seen any trades that I would like as far as New Orleans is concerned. It's a tough situation. They're probably just better off sticking with him for the rest of this year. Drummond, I think, would be significant wherever he goes. If he goes somewhere, especially if it's either the Lakers or the Nets, that would move the needle for either one of those teams. So, I mean, but those are the only two. You know, I just don't. What's Lowry's contract situation? Is he in the last year of his contract?
Last year,
30 million expiring.
Okay,
Right.
so maybe Lowry gets done in that case, and that would be a big piece for whoever got him. But it's just I just haven't seen signs of anything really that's really going to happen at this point. So I just feel like I just can't see anything really happening. And like I said, the other stuff that's going to happen, I don't think is that significant. I definitely think I see that minus 120 for JJ Redick. I think he probably definitely gets dealt because he's not doing anything for New Orleans.
Yeah.
They don't want him, and someone
Right.
and another team will think that he has a few shots left in him.
Golden State.
Yeah, he seems. Yeah, that's a place I can see him going. He seems like a good somebody will take a flyer, second round pick, maybe a young player in there and get him. I think he's one of the likely guys to get traded.
Smart player that Kerr would want. He'll know how to move the ball. He'll know how to be in the right spots.
Could we do a couple minutes on Oladipo actually?
Yeah, sure.
Because I'm trying to figure out like what's the spot for him because it's awkward, right? Like he's not this great catch and shoot guy that you just plug in and shoots a lot of threes. So I was wondering, Golden State is a team that's interested in him. Miami's interested in him. And I'm sort of looking around at other possible Oladipo fits, and I just don't quite really see it anywhere necessarily. I guess Miami would be the team, but then contractually to sort of make the salaries work, now without the Myers-Leonard deal, it's a little bit difficult. And are you sure that he's going to elevate you guys so much? Like, I'm not quite sure. And for Golden State, I mean, without maybe Andrew Wiggins or Kelly Oubre's contract, which neither of which I don't think they're going to part with right now, does it make a lot of sense? Like, I'm not sure.
Well, I could see them wanting to part with Oubre, right? Because he makes so much money and has them in this high place where they're paying the tax. They're paying a ridiculous amount in the tax, right, guys? And maybe they want to get off of that to reduce that a little bit more. So if you can get off and get something for Oubre now, even if you flip it into Oladipo and you save some money in a long-term contract, and if you keep him on, it could make sense for them. But I don't know how easy that is going to be for them to trade. Like if that's your point, Brian, because I don't know how easy it will be for them to trade. I think with Oladipo, guys, the points that Brian makes, I'm not really sure where he fits that well. And then if you trade for him, are any veterans? Murph talked about the fact that teams that think they're contending and looking for veteran players, they're going to want a guy that's going to be able to push them over. Is Oladipo that dude that pushes you over the top? Is there anybody willing to give up a first-round pick for him if he's just going to be a rental? You know, I don't see it in terms of the Clippers, Lakers, Nets. Well, not really the Nets. The Sixers, I don't really see that.
None of those teams have anything to get that Houston's going to want, right? Like, what are the Clippers? The Clippers don't have anything.
Luke Kennard.
And Houston wants too much. That's the other problem. Houston wants way too much.
Yo, Raphael's still not here trying to like stick up dudes at like like he's just out here trying to commit armed robbery. Literally like wants everything for every guy that he has. I just Oladipo's in an interesting spot as Brian mentioned because I do think he's valuable. Look, he had the one All NBA season, but I think that is who he is when he's healthy and been playing in the right situation. I think he's just had some like really bad injury luck, and who knows what the hell's going on in Houston right now. A team like Milwaukee, but like now with Drew, like whatever, think about him in that 2-guard role, right? Like as opposed to who else is starting 2-guard now?
Dante DiVincenzo, right?
Why Dante?
Is he really?
Dante. Yeah. Dante starts. Yeah, Dante starts. Like so think about it, right? Because the big problem with Milwaukee is creating shots for yourself and others from the wing position, right? Okay, Middleton can do it. Giannis, kind of, sort of, but not really.
No,
because he can't shoot.
You don't trust him in the playoffs.
But that's my point, though, right? So Middleton is like a third dude who could do that. Yo, now you're talking. But they don't. I mean, what do they have? They gave up everything to get Drew. I don't think they have anything. I mean,
they just did the PJ Tucker deal. You think that if they wanted Oladipo,
they would have, I guess, tried to get Oladipo. Which it'll be. He's an interesting market. I think he's gonna have to play. He might have to just wait it out and play free agency.
It is going to be interesting there. I don't know, and I'm not even sure Miami. I didn't mention them in the teams of contenders, and they definitely are. I'm not even sure they should definitely go out
now.
there.
They have stuff, but do they want to give up their stuff to get Oladipo? That's the question.
The reports coming out of Miami suggest that Houston is asking for a lot, and Miami just simply. I mean, not that they don't have a lot because they have some players instead of the picks, but it's like for Victor Oladipo, who's going to be there for 2 months, like doesn't make sense.
Yeah, unless you know you're re-signing him, right? Like unless you know for a fact.
Right, you're re-signing. And with that being said, that's why I think like what Murph mentioned, when you're talking about someone like a JJ Redick in terms of betting, he makes the most sense because he's going to be he's going to be cheap relatively, even in terms of the money that you'd have to match for that in terms of a trade. You can get some young players in a second round pick. You can get JJ Redick, and I agree with Murph that some of these contenders are going to think he's the kind of guy that can put them over the top or give them that spacing they need, that extra shooting. He can help win a playoff game or two for them. So I can see that. Not really on this list. And another factor, guys, I was going to bring up is I think the play-in tournament changes stuff here because a lot of teams still feel like they're in it and they have something to play for. So maybe in normal times, a team, let's say like the Chicago Bulls, the Indiana Pacers, who have been slumping as of late, even like the Sacramento Kings, who probably still want to try to make a push to get to the play-in, and they have no business pushing for anything. They still are going to try to do things. And I think that's why it's going to be a pretty quiet deadline. Murph says he thinks that too. Do you, Jarod and Bryan, do you feel like it's also going to be a quiet deadline?
Yeah, it seems like it. Again, it's always so tough because there's so much dudes aren't saying anything. So when I don't hear anything, then I'm like, ooh, some shit's probably happening. So we haven't heard it. But to your point, I agree with what Murph said. This playing tournament got teams stupid thinking, we got something to do here. Y'all ain't that good. Like, let's keep it 100. You're not. Okay, cool. Right. Now, here's what they're gonna do it though, because if the owners get that one extra game, and if we're letting fans back in, and by spring it's like 50% capacity, 75, that's some gate revenue. These motherfuckers want to nickel and dime everything. So that's what I think that's about. But otherwise, let's be real. Like, y'all ain't got no shot. If you fighting for a play-in, like, come on.
Yeah, I think pretty much the same. I think that a lot of teams are just going to hesitate for those reasons. Like, I think that in a typical season, not that this is a big name player, but this is a player who could have an impact on a veteran team. Like a player like Thaddeus Young would have probably been traded by now. But Chicago, obviously, they have Zach LaVine. He's a free agent after next year, so they want to make the playoffs for him now so that they can, potentially make that work long term. Like, they're trying to show something to their star, even if it's just getting in the play-in. That's a factor too. Like, the Knicks feel like they have something to play for. The Bulls feel like they have something to play for, even though they're not going to be contenders. So I think a lot of teams are just going to be playing chicken. I do think we'll see some moves, but I don't know if we'll see much bigger than we've already seen with the move centered around PJ Tucker and Trevor Ariza, both of whom I think are going to be impact players on the teams that they're on. Like, we saw Jay Crowder have an immense impact in Miami last year, and PJ Tucker is a veteran who can help Giannis and Milwaukee. But other than that, I don't know if we're going to see any big name guys right now.
Yeah, I'm not so sure either. I think it might be kind of quiet. I'm with Murph on that, and I think what you may see, you'll see some moves of big names, but I think it'll be in the buyout market. LaMarcus Aldridge, Andre Drummond. I think you'll see that. So we'll see. March 25th is the trade deadline. That'll be an interesting day for sure. Either it'll be busy or it'll be really quiet. All right, let's get to tonight's games. Not a great slate of games because everybody's watching, and everybody's in Murph's world, I should say. Everybody's in Murph's world, which is watching the college basketball and all the hype around that. NBA knows. But, I try to pick out the best matchups of the night. So let's start off first. We have the slumping Indiana Pacers. They are in Miami, MIA, Bryan's team. Miami's 4-point favorites. The over-under this game is 215.5. Bryan, we'll start with you because it's your team. Are you giving Indiana any shot in this game, or you predictably pick the Heat as we think?
I mean, you know what I'm doing. I'm just making sure right now that my numbers are correct. But Miami won something like 13 of their last 15 games, and Indiana's been going in the opposite direction after their 11-7 start, as we've mentioned. I'm taking Miami. I'm taking the points and all that bullshit, better betting sort of, words and shit like that. Yeah, I'm taking Miami in this. And I think that they're going to win because, also they just get that extra day off. They've had a stretch where it's been like 4 games in 7 nights or 5 games in 7 nights, something crazy like that. That's sort of what factored into that horrendous game against the Memphis Grizzlies the other night.
That was awful.
They had a high uptick in games and stuff like that. But right now, I think Miami. I feel very good about them beating Indiana, given that Indiana just hasn't been playing that well lately. Though they have Caris LeVert back, and I think that'll help them. Just not tonight.
All right, there you go. Team Miami as usual.
Trevor Ariza making his debut tonight, also.
Trevor Ariza is making his debut. Who has not played all year. For the Oklahoma City Thunder. He was like, I want no parts of that. He's this year's Andre Iguodala. Jarod, do you like this matchup? Can the Pacers got to start turning things around because they haven't played good. They're now sitting, ninth in the East. So they have not been playing good at all right now. 10th in the East. Sorry, my fault on that. They are 10th in the East currently. Domantas Sabonis and your boys, are they going to turn it around against the Heat?
1-9 in their last 10 against the spread.
Woo.
They're just I don't know what's going on in Indy. I'm watching games and I'm like, what's going on with y'all? Like, it's just something's missing. I don't know what it is. Is it TJ Warren? Is it? I don't know, but something just ain't right over there. Now, to be fair, the Heat ain't exactly world beaters either, Brian. Let's calm down with all this Heat culture stuff. But I do like the under. And Miami -4. I'll tell you what, if Miami can't win this damn game, your team is suspect. No, I'm kidding.
They got to get it done, Brian, or else. Murph, what say you for this game?
I really like Syracuse tonight. The NBA. That's right.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, the Pacers. Come on, the Pacers stink, man. Let's be honest. We've been talking about this the last few weeks. Every time we talk about the Pacers stink, they're 17-22, 2-8 last 10, 1-9 against the spread. Miami is like the opposite right now. Miami is 8-2 last 10, 6-4 against the spread. Miami has come into their own. I was never one of those people who doubted that Miami would make the playoffs or get back into the mix. So they've done that. They're focused now. That's a no-brainer. That's Miami -4. Please take that.
No-brainer. Bang it right there. Nobody giving any chance for the Pacers to turn this around.
Yeah,
Not tonight.
Man.
Not tonight, at least.
I don't know what's going on with them. I really don't.
Yeah, they look low. I mean, Murph might agree they missed Nate McMillan. That could be possible.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
It could be. He only got them to the playoffs 4 years in a row. But
yeah.
It only happened. All right. Next game, one of our favorite teams on this show, the Utah Jazz. Team, I believe in the Jazz. Hashtag I believe in the Jazz. Brian's been tweeting that all week. They're the favorites versus Toronto. And the over-under in this matchup is 230.5. Utah, we know some people on the show don't believe in them. Some people are skeptical. They have continued to roll along in their winning ways for the most part. Do you like them? The Raptors still trying to fight for playoff positioning. We don't know if they're going to trade Kyle Lowry or not. That is a huge question probably looming over that team for the next 6 days. I'll start with you, Murph. Do you like the Jazz here to keep their winning ways against Toronto, who needs a win to stay in the playoff hunt?
Well, the Jazz have been struggling lately, or at least they've come back down to earth.
Yeah.
Right. They haven't been, struggling. But 5-5 last 10, 4-6 against the spread. Lost last night, right, to Washington. So they're on a back-to-back. They're at Toronto. Toronto's been terrible. Lost 6 straight, but they just finally kind of got everybody back a game ago. Yeah. I think Toronto really needs this game. Like I said, Utah's come back down to earth. I think Toronto gets this one. They need it much more than Utah does. So I would go Toronto +4, and also like the under 231.5, because the same reason that Toronto needs this, and they'll really play some defense for real, some playoff type defense.
And interestingly enough, 81% of the money on the Jazz here in terms of the line. Brian, we know you do not believe in the Utah Jazz. Do you believe in them to get the win tonight?
Man, you're starting to see the cracks. You know what I mean? Like Rudy Gobert talking about, people are making fun of us, but we kind of deserve it because we're not who we think we've been or whatever. I'm paraphrasing. I'm paraphrasing,
Wait. This sounds like something you would get behind. You're Mr. Chip on the shoulder. They have this now.
But I think for them, it's going the other way, where it's like they're starting to realize, like, oh shit, we were only that good because we were healthier than everybody else, and Toronto Raptors are going to beat them tonight because the Utah Jazz are going to, continue to come back down to earth and eventually lose in the first or second round of the playoffs. The reason why I make it first now,
now you're saying first. Wow.
Well, it depends on the matchup. But I'm telling you right now, like everybody, like this happens every year. We get all hype because there's a great regular season team, and we start to think, what if they can beat? And it always happens to be LeBron. Like it was LeBron when it was the Atlanta Hawks and, Mike Budenholzer making an all-star out of Jeff Teague and Kyle Korver. Like, I think this is a better team than that, but LeBron's still out there. And I don't believe in the Utah Jazz that much. So I'm just going to be hard on them tonight and think that the Toronto Raptors are going to win. And if they don't, then I don't care because the Utah Jazz are still going to lose early in the playoffs.
Yo, Bryan is now talking about the first round. Oh, man, if they lose in the first round, Bryan's going to be the happiest person on the show. Jarod, do you like betting this game at all? And are you a believer in the Jazz?
Oh, this game's a stay away from me, man. I don't like it because, as Utah's been struggling, second out of it back-to-back. But, again, Toronto ain't world beaters, all right? They've been looking trash, too. Like, I don't know who's doing what in that game. And we cannot discount what Utah has done for the first 30, 40-odd some games of the year, right? Like,
yeah, we could.
They are still the number one team in terms of net rating, right? So, like, they are beating who they should beat and beating good teams as well. So, but even though second half of back-to-back, they're struggling right now. Rudy out here talking about we not who we think we are. Like, y'all need like a come to Jesus moment or something. I don't know. You need to figure some stuff out. Figure out who y'all are. But I don't like this game, so staying away.
So you're staying away.
They are the number. All this they still are number one in the West.
They are, and number one net rating. They're still.
But I do like what Antonio said. Utah Jazz blanded than a slice of Wonder Bread. Utah Jazz, the warm milk.
The warm milk. Yo, do any of y'all drink warm milk? Who the hell drinks warm milk?
Well,
babies.
I'll share something. I when I have cold cereal, I always put warm my milk that goes in.
Oh, but that's with cereal.
Yeah. But I don't drink warm milk.
Huh? I never heard of that. I never heard of warm milk in cereal.
Only babies drink warm milk.
No, there's if anybody,
I've never heard of warm milk in cereal.
If anybody who's listening to this is like Caribbean,
yes, I've heard of that.
See,
that's a West Indian thing.
Yeah, it's West Indian. It's definitely a West Indian thing. Because my fellow West Indian brothers and sisters out there know what I'm talking about. And if y'all think I'm a weirdo, well, forget y'all. Don't care. We don't care. We don't care about that either. But I like the Utah Jazz as the warm milk of the NBA. Good one. Good one. There. I like that. And you know what? By the end of most people watching this show, including Bryan, they'll be the most disrespected team in the NBA because Bryan's giving them no respect at all. First round knockout.
Chris Boucher gonna go crazy on Rudy Gobert. I couldn't even finish because I was laughing.
Oh man! My man said no, we don't. Dex, yeah, you don't know about the warm milk, brother?
Yeah, we know about the warm milk.
I'm West Indian too. My mom's from Grenada. Maybe she came over here too early.
I forgot that.
13. She came over too early.
If you gotta ask your mom about the warm milk.
I'll ask her.
Yes,
it also depends on where in the Caribbean, right? Like your parents are from. Where they grow up in a city, or they more country, right? So my dad did that. My mom will say they're both from Trinidad. Your father's country. That's why he does stuff like that, right? So it depends on where you grew up on your island.
My parents grew up in the country.
Okay, there you go. So warm milk is a country.
That's probably where some of the things. Murph, I forgot your mom.
Yeah, I'm about to text my homegirl. She's been in Grenada ever since quarantine. So I'm about to text her.
Not a bad place to be.
Not a bad place to be. I was supposed to go last June. I couldn't go. Oh, well, good for her. All right, last game of the night that we will talk about is the Dallas Mavericks, who put a beat down, I guess you could say, on the Clippers, who were clipping the other night as usual. They have 3.5-point favorites against the Portland Blazers. Over under in this is 228. Let me just make sure that was not updated. It's now 227.5, guys, and the line is still at -3.5 favoring the Mavericks. I'll start with you, Murph, on this. This seems like you can see a big game from Luka, great scoring game from Dame. Everybody's going to want to see that matchup. You could see a lot of points in this game. Neither of these teams are really good defensively. So when you look at the over-under, when you look at the line here, is this a game you'd want to bet on?
Not really, but it's okay if you want some entertainment. I'm semi-confident in Dallas here at -3.5. Portland played last night. They beat the sorry Pelicans once again. Dallas playing well. Luka playing well. Porzingis is back. They're a better team with him in the lineup, no matter how many people try to hate on my man. But Dallas 7-3, 6-4 against the spread. They're in the A spot now. I like Dallas here to cover that 3.5 at Portland, and I also like the over. Like you said, I think there'll be a lot of points scored, not too much defense.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Should at least be entertaining. Jarod, we saw what Luka did to the Clips, carved them up because of the Clippers. And this is what they do. You want to talk about a team I don't trust? Clippers. Bryan doesn't trust the Jazz, and Murph, I know you with me. I don't. Yeah, I know you with me, brother. I know you with me. The Mavs have been playing better, Jarod. And you heard Murph allude to the fact of KP being back and playing well. Looks like he's been getting his win, playing better defensively. Do you like the Mavs to come out with a road victory here? They're favorites on the road.
Mavs trending up in terms of the defense they've been playing as of late. Luka's that dude right now, right? Like the three balls on. I mean, the stuff he was doing last night with Kawhi Leonard, or the other night on Kawhi and Paul George, like these ain't slouch defensively. It's like those are two of the best perimeter defenders in the league. And Luka was like, I don't mean shit. What I will like though in this game, Dame gets up for these matchups. Dame like, oh, you talking about Luka Doncic? All right, cool, no problem. I'm going Portland Trailblazers money line, and I like the over as well.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
let me just say, that Luka going off against the Clippers. He took Paul George right back to the bubble, man. You know what I'm saying? Paul George was crying like he was back in the bubble after the game.
I mean, the comments where you start blaming the refs. And he got fined $35,000, I believe, today.
They did.
Come on.
They don't have to find him. He already publicly shamed.
Listen, PG got to figure some shit out, man. Like,
this is not a good look for him. And you're right. It feels like he's back in the bubble. Like he's looking at it like, we already lost. The refs are against us. We can't win. Man, again, don't trust the Clips.
I'm just waiting for him to hit the side of the backboard.
Hopefully you don't see that. Bryan, you were shaking your head when you heard Jarod talk about the fact that Damian Lillard gets up for these games. You like when Damian Lillard gets up for these. Nodding your head. Sorry, not shaking your head. You were nodding your head. That is correct. You like when Damian Lillard gets up for these games. You see a big game for Dame. And Jarod has the Blazers with the money line here. How are you betting this game, Mavs Blazers?
So I was looking at some of the back-to-backs that the Blazers had recently, and they have a better record than I thought. In their last 6 times that they've been on the second night of a back-to-back, they've won 4 of them, though they did lose last time against Minnesota. But as we've seen, Minnesota's kind of figured something out, I guess, temporarily. Damian Lillard's got what I call some Bernard Hopkins energy. Bernard Hopkins famously once said, I ain't never going to let a white boy beat me. And he's playing Luka Doncic tonight. So I feel like Damian Lillard's going to get up for this matchup. Now,
wait, who said that?
Bernard Hopkins.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Unfortunately, he lost that fight to Joe Calzaghe, but Joe Calzaghe undefeated. But here's the thing. About that.
That quote doesn't hold the same weight then.
But here's the thing. No, Damian Lillard's different. You know what I mean? Damian Lillard is a little bit different than Bernard Hopkins was, at least at that stage of his career. Because I was older Bernard Hopkins, not middleweight Bernard Hopkins. Damian Lillard, a boxing fan, by the way, so I thought that I would throw all this in there.
Dame is a little different.
My point is I'm taking the over because these are two high-scoring teams who don't defend well. I think Damian Lillard and Luka Doncic are probably going to exchange very high-scoring games against one another, but I just think that Dame gets up for these games more than Luka has, and I think that he has a little bit more support overall, at least as of late, in terms of how Portland's been playing generally throughout the season. So I'm more comfortable rolling with Lillard and Portland here.
All right, that should be interesting. That's a tough one for me to pick. If I had to bet that one, I'm definitely taking the over with the over-under. It's going to be no defense played. And it wouldn't shock me if both of those guys are over 35 points. So if you're looking at some player props, that could be pretty interesting there too. All right, we're going to move on to our next segment, to parlay, not to parlay. But first, I want to remind everybody that the propsnetwork.com live odds tool is the way to go when you're shopping for betting lines using the propsnetwork.com live odds comparison tool. You go to propsnetwork.com/NBA, and you can see all the different spreads and payouts from all the best legal sports books all in one place. If you're enjoying the show, you're rocking with us for the first time, we appreciate that. Please subscribe to the Props Network YouTube channel. You can get more NBA betting content from us every Friday night, NBA Picks and Props, 6 p.m. Eastern. And you can check out some of the other great content that is all on the Props Network YouTube channel. All right, guys, to parlay or not to parlay. Got some interesting parlays tonight. I think you guys will like these. I think they're pretty good. First one, Jamal Morant, Draymond Green, and Dejounte Murray, all to record 8+ assists. Odds for this are plus 800. Is this tantalizing enough for you, Murph? And we're talking about assists. We're talking about passing the ball, not scoring. Is this one you want to get in on the action?
Yeah, that plus 800, that's really tantalizing me. You know what I'm saying? And, I didn't have time to research this because I was watching college basketball. But, no, just off the top, these guys, they're all capable of getting 8 assists. They all have pretty good matchups to do it. Draymond, he swears he's a point guard now. He's like an old school college point guard. Bring the ball up, no threat on the offense, just gonna get everybody involved. So he'll probably get his 8 assists. Dejounte Murray is playing Cleveland, so he could do it. Very talented player. I like that, and it's mostly because of the odds. Plus 800. What do you have to lose?
Yeah, why not throw a couple of dollars on this one? Jarod, is there anybody in this parlay that concerns you that you think will be maybe the risk to not get the 8+ assists?
Honestly, all of them do. I mean, 8 assists ain't that's no easy feat, right?
Come on, man. I can get 8 assists in my sleep.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, right? It's like you ever talk to your boys and they'd be like, "Yo, how hard is it to score 20 points in the NBA? It's just 5 points a quarter." I'm like, "You idiots have no idea. Like it's fucking real hard. It's really fucking hard." They all scare me, but to Murph's point, 8 plus 800, that makes it all worthwhile, right? So you got to throw a flyer on it just because of the odds. So I'll throw a flyer on it. But the one person who I'm really like, I don't know, Ja would have me a little nervous just because, I saw the end of that. I mean, Memphis is, they're like my quasi team because, Josh Triple J will be back soon. I watch them and I'm like, how do y'all score sometimes? Like, I just don't. Nah. So he'd be the one that scares me.
Wait, Jarod, I gotta ask you, Jarod. How many times have you told us that Triple J's come back soon?
But he is. I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know.
Yo, but there's a fair point there. Triple soon was like 2 months ago now. Soon was really like 2 months ago.
I can't divulge exact dates, man.
All right.
I can't be out here divulging dates.
Yo, Jarod, the next time you say soon, I'm just gonna roll my eyes. Okay. All right. He said he's gonna be the last day of the season. He's like, yo, come back soon. Jarod, I love you, man. I love you. Bryan, I saw you nodding your head when I asked Jarod about whether there was a player that would concern you in terms of this parlay. Is there somebody that concerns you? Is it John Morant? Or do you know that Triple J is coming back soon?
Yo, Murph, that was fucking hilarious. The guy who worries me here in this parlay is Dejounte Murray, actually, because he's only had 8+ assists twice since January 24th. That being said, it's plus 800. So I'm going to take this bet. But I'm still worried about all 3 of them, mostly Dejounte Murray. I'm still taking this, though.
All right. Our guy, Antonio Urbano, says, yep, it's pay week. What's for me, too. I throw a couple of bucks on it, too. I mean,
not for me. Mine's next week.
Yours is next week? Well, sucks to be you for this week, I guess, whatsoever. But it doesn't matter. We know. One thing we know about this parlay, Triple J is coming back.
Listen, I'm trying to tell y'all, right? Like, yo, don't be.
No. The point is, you've been telling us. You just back.
That's letting y'all know.
I'm just happy you remind me that he's still alive and
Well, that's
well
the thing.
in the league.
I don't want y'all to forget that my man's
That's right.
still in the league.
I appreciate that. I appreciate
I
that.
appreciate that. We people need to know that. All right, guys. Next parlay involves a guy that's very near and dear to Jarod's heart. Jason Tatum of the Boston Celtics and Collin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers, both to score 25 plus points. The odds on this are at plus 250, which means they think they're going to get buckets. How do you guys feel about taking this bet? Bryan, you first. What's up?
I actually like this one. I wish the odds were a little bit better. And I'm a little concerned about Jason Tatum, obviously, because, post-COVID has been a little inconsistent. Better lately, even shooting from the field. He's had a couple of good games, but, it's not so much about efficiency as much as it's about getting the 25 points for the bet. So I'm rolling with both of them. And I think Collin Sexton, he's had a good season. He's not quite where he was at the very beginning, I would say, but I will take this pretty comfortably. It's plus 250, so you're not going to win a ton if this were to happen, but you'll win something, and that's what matters, right?
Winning does matter. Boston hosting Sacramento and Cleveland hosting San Antonio. Jarod, do you like your boy Jason Tatum to get 25 plus tonight? And do you believe in Collin Sexton? Do you love Sexland the way Bryan does? That is the question. Do you love Sexland the way Bryan does?
It's a hell of a nickname, man. Sexland is a hell of a nickname. I got to stick to the bit, so fuck the C's. If this was Jaylen Brown, I'd be like, all right, yeah. No, I'm just kidding. Look, I real quick though, like about the whole post-COVID thing, that's real. Make sure you subscribe to True Hoop. We put an article about NBA players and post-COVID.
Yeah.
Shouts to our guy Tom Habistro. There's all seriousness aside, like that. It's like real out there. We still don't know what the lingering long-term effects are actually going to be for these dudes. The odds are fine. They're not great. I think anything, because something about his Tatum I trust because he's gonna shoot like 40 times. So whatever. He'll find a way to get there. Sexton, man, he may not hit anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it may be a weird night for him. So I'd stay away. It's not enough of an odds for me to be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, and Antonio Urbano agrees with you. Says no, I need better odds. These two can put up points in their sleep. That is true. Undoubtedly they can. So maybe it's to stay away from it. Murph, you staying away from this one or two? Or is this one tantalizing enough?
It's tantalizing. I agree with Bryan. The odds not quite there, so I'm on the fence with it. Only because I'm very confident in Tatum getting his tonight. He averages 25 points. Sexton, I don't really like the matchup against San Antonio. San Antonio, smart defensive team. They'll know how to key on him. They could give him some problems tonight. I'll stay away.
Yeah, man.
Stay away. Bryan is the only person bold enough to take this parlay. Yeah, I understand the trepidation with Sexton, and I think for me, I'm just with Antonio Urbano on this. Not enough in terms of the odds to really tantalize me on this one to go in. So I'll be away. I can see this where Jason Tatum goes for like 32 and Sexton goes for a nice 24 points, and that's what we call a bad beat, right, Jarod?
On 8 for 24 shooting too.
You can absolutely see that. I can totally see that playing out. You'll be like,
that's a bad beat. Yeah, that's
a bad beat. All right, this is a parlay. I think we've spoken about blocks before, but not with this many players required to do what we need for this parlay. Jarrett Allen, Jakob Poeltl, and Richaun Holmes, one of Bryan's all-stars, all to record 2+ blocks. Odds in this are at plus 675, guys. This seems like in that tantalizing range, but you're asking a lot here. Got to get 3 blocks each, right? So you're asking a lot. Bryan, we know you're Mr. Defense. We know Richaun Holmes is your boy. Do you have faith in Holmes and the other 2 guys here recording 2+ blocks?
It's weird that I have the most faith in Jakob Poeltl in getting this because he's actually been throwing shit lately. He had 4 blocks the other night. So, he's been very good, getting a lot of rebounds too. Jarrett Allen, very good shot blocker, but a little bit overrated as a shot blocker because he's had a lot of great moments as a shot blocker, but there are a lot of games where there'll be like 0 and 1 and things of that nature. He's still averaging almost 2 blocks a game this season, but I think people think that he's averaging 2.5 blocks, 3 blocks a game every season that he plays, and that's just not been the case. That said, and Richaun Holmes, similarly in terms of block production, not quite over that 2. If it was, then he wouldn't even be part of this parlay. So I'm actually going to take this because the odds are so good. Even though I think that there's a good chance of you getting burned by either Jarrett Allen or Richaun Holmes in particular. But the plus 675, excuse me, is tempting. So that's where I would go. I would take this.
Yeah, this is one I could see Jakob Poeltl with 6 blocks and everybody else with none. I can totally see that. I can totally see that. I'm all about people onto the potential bad beats. Murph, is this one you get it on too? I love the word tantalizing when it comes to these parlays. It's about the odds. The odds got to tantalize you. If you're not going to get in the dance.
It was tantalizing until I saw that Jakob Poeltl's in this, and I'm not trying to diss him. I know he's a solid player. He can block some shots. Diss him. But I'm not putting money on Jakob Poeltl to do anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not doing it, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But
not gonna be able to do it.
That's just. I'm sorry. Okay, I can't do it. Stay the hell away. I'm staying away. You do what you want to do. I'm staying away.
The way you sound, the energy that you're bringing here sounds very similar to the energy Bryan has about the Utah Jazz. He's like, I'm staying away. I'm not putting any money on.
I thought you were going to say it's very similar to the energy that Bernard Hopkins had for Joe Calzaghe once upon a time.
That's close. That's close.
That's close. That is close. Jarod, are you keeping the same energy as Murphy? And this is to stay away because you don't believe in Jakob Poeltl?
Yo, first of all, Murph called him Jakob Poeltl. Like he said
no respect on his name.
He
literally
said Jakob Poeltl. I was like,
that's what we called him. That's what we called him at Utah. So I don't know.
Look, Jakob Poeltl. Like I'm not so worried about him. Look, you gotta look at guys who are guys that get dunked on a lot. These 3 dudes are dudes that consistently get dunked on. But that also means they are trying and challenging for blocks, right? Because you ain't going to get blocks if you don't get dunked on. That's how this game works. Right. So because it is plus 675, right? Mm-hmm. That makes it worth it to me. If it was plus 400 or plus 3, I'm like, nah, hell no. But plus 675, shit, why not?
Why not?
Get a little weak side action. Next thing you know, you're like, ooh, look, we all got one. And, but odds are Jakob Poeltl end up getting 3 blocks, and the rest of them get 1, and then there we go.
And then Murph might actually have to put some respect on Jakob Poeltl's name.
Let me tell you something. If you're averaging 7 points, 8 rebounds is okay, but you're having 7 and 8. I'm calling you Jacob. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, his mama named him Jakob.
I don't know that dude. You're Jacob.
Jacob. This dude is Jacob.
My man Antonio Urbano says no, he would not get down with this. Blocks are way too random of a stat. If Dikembe Ezo was still in the league, maybe. But this is a hard pass. Hard pass. And what Murph said is beyond a hard pass. He's like, get this parlay.
Get him out the league. Get him out the league and bring JJ. Bring Triple J. You know what I'm
saying? There you go. Put some respect on my guy, Triple J's name. Oh, boy, y'all forgot.
Make some room for that.
I mean, Jakob Poeltl is playing at Triple J, isn't? But he's coming back.
Why
soon.
you gotta come at my dude,
He's
man?
He's coming back soon, though.
Good point, Dex. Good point.
I'm just saying.
Y'all some hating ass,
Man, anybody tunes in the show like these guys are hating. They hate the Clippers. They hate the Jazz. They hate Jakob Poeltl.
They hate Jarrett Jackson Jr.
Jackson Jr. Yeah.
Talking about some Jakob. Come on, man.
All right, guys. The last parlay. Oh man, I can't even talk right now. The last parlay. Nuggets. We're talking about teams here. We got the Nuggets. We got the Trailblazers.
Antonio Urbano, you ain't funny. Wait, who's Triple J? Nah, you ain't funny, dude. You ain't funny. Nah. Anybody laughing at your joke, dude?
He doesn't know because he
hasn't played since 2018, bro.
Stop it.
So nobody knows. He doesn't know. You can't be mad at him for not knowing. You can't be mad. He doesn't know. Nuggets, Trailblazers, and Suns all to win. The odds on this are at plus 300. The Nuggets, they are hosting the Bulls. The Trailblazers we talked about earlier, they are hosting the Mavericks. And the Suns, they're in action against the worst team in the league, Minnesota, who just beat them last night. And this will be the second of the back-to-back. Does anybody like this? Does anybody believe in this? The odds are, it's okay. Plus 300. Jarod, you jumping in on this one, or do you not believe in this parlay the way Jamal does not believe in Jakob Poeltl?
Yeah, no, I'm going with this parlay mainly because you can't lose to the Timber Puppies 2 nights in a row, can you?
I mean, you can, but I get your point.
I get it. Cat and Anthony Edwards did their thing. Cat can have a repeat performance because, DeAndre Ayton trying to guard Cat's a little problematic. But Anthony Edwards doing this again tonight, I don't know. I'm going with this. I like it. All
right, like them all to win. Bryan, do you have as much confidence in all these teams pulling out a win, or is there a team you think that's going to mess this up?
I will say about Anthony Edwards, he's averaging 26 points a game over his last 9. And that's a pretty healthy stretch given, what they've been doing as of late. And they still only have 10 wins at the end of the day. So I'm still going to take this parlay for that reason. And I agree. I don't think the Timberwolves can get back-to-back wins against the same team, especially a Chris Paul run team in Phoenix. That's going to be very difficult to do. I would have the most worry about the Mavericks potentially spoiling this because they play against Portland. And as we mentioned before, I expect Portland to win. However, some shit just happens. Luka Doncic, gets 42, 17, and 12, and we look up and it's like, oh shit, they won by 2 in a very tight game. And, we're seeing about it on SVP later that, he outplayed Damian Lillard, whatever the case may be.
No, I can see good. It's just Trailblazers, right? Isn't it Nuggets, Trailblazers, Suns?
Nuggets, Trailblazers, Suns, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So the Mavericks could spoil this by beating the Trailblazers. So that's giving me a little cause for concern, but, it's plus 300. I'll take it. It's a good bet. If I put down 1, I'll get 3. That's fine by me.
Okay, not bad there. Murph, are you getting in on this action, or is there a team you don't believe in the way you don't believe in Jakob Poeltl?
No, nothing close to Jakob Poeltl. But no, I actually like this plus 300. Denver, you gotta like them. The Suns, you gotta like them. Even though Anthony Edwards, man, that's why a lot of people were saying early on he didn't deserve to be the number 1 pick. I just didn't say anything about that because his athleticism is so off the charts, and the dude actually can shoot. Like I'm saying, he can score. It was just putting it together, mentally. And this dude, man, just off ability alone is scary. Okay, so he might be the best player in this draft. Even though LaMelo Ball is great, it's going to be between them, I think. But anyway, getting back to the parlay, like I picked Dallas, of course, but I could obviously see Portland winning at home. So I think at plus 300, I like this one.
All right, like this one. I still think it's hilarious that Antonio Urbano says he does not know who Triple J is. He says he's not joking at all whatsoever.
Yeah, I ain't even. We good.
We got to talk about. We got to really talk about what are the odds of when Triple J will return. Because soon is not enough for me to take that.
What are those odds? What are those odds?
I told you I can't give y'all dates, man.
Yeah, all you can say is 4 letters.
Soon. That's it. That's all I can tell you is soon.
That's all you can tell us. All right, we're at that time of night. Last segment of the show. We keep it 100, guys. We have $100 every week to spend. You can spend it however you want. You can bet on fights. You can bet on Triple J's return. You can bet on Jakob Poeltl to get 4 blocks. It doesn't matter. It's all about what you want to do and how you want to spend your $100. Bryan, I'm going to start with you. I'm so intrigued to know what the violence is going to be tonight. Let us know how you spending your $100.
I'm actually going to put 99 of it on all 4 of these parlays since I took all of them. The one that I'm going to have 24 on is the plus 250 with Jason Tatum and Colin Sexton, just because that's, the lowest sort of form of that. And my violent scuffle will be, Jakob Poeltl gets ejected tonight. Why not?
I like it. I like that.
Poeltl, love it.
Tell me if that happens, because then I'll start watching the game.
I actually really like that. I really like that one. All right, Murph, we want to get you back to your college basketball as quickly as possible. How are you spending your $100 tonight? Or are you putting it all on one college team? Exploiting the damn kids, man. Shame on you.
You're close. I'm gonna put $1 on the the John Morant, Draymond Green, Dejounte Murray plus 800. I like that. I'm gonna put $1 on the Heat to cover against Indiana. Then I'm gonna put $98 on a parlay for the NCAA tournament. Give me North Carolina minus 1.5 against Wisconsin.
Okay.
Syracuse plus 3 versus San Diego State, and Rutgers minus 1.5 versus Clemson.
You got the Rutgers. You got the Rutgers with the upset there.
Scarlet
Okay.
Knights.
Not. Oh yeah. Oh, at least your school's in it. Can't say that this year.
Shouts to my Scarlet Knights.
No, Scarlet Knights. All right, Jarod. How are you spending your $100 this Friday?
Gonna split it up, man. 25 across the board. Nuggets, Trailblazers, Suns to win. $25 on Rudy Gobert, 15 points, 15 boards. I'm gonna do 25 on that Jarrett Allen, Jakob Poeltl, Richaun Holmes blocks, and $25 on Spurs. And get ready for this, guys. Celtics to win.
Wow. Okay. That is shocking. You picked the Celtics.
I know.
Shit, they better.
What's the money line?
The money line for the Celtics is minus 275.
Okay.
Yep. So
they should win that game.
Oh yeah, they better win that game.
Listen, they got some problems right now.
87% of the bets on the money line are on the C's for that game. So a lot of people are feeling strongly about them winning there. I'm going with one bet. I'm putting $100. I'm risking it all on everything this week. I'm risking it all. Ooh. And you know the team I'm putting it on? Because no, Knicks don't play tonight. I've risked my whole life.
I mean, they play tomorrow.
I could do something tomorrow, but I'm doing it tonight. Tonight is the night. Tonight is the night it all comes to an end for the Houston Rockets. Why? Because they're playing another team that is bad, and they're playing the Detroit Pistons. The Rockets are actually favored in this game, minus 1.5 at home. But
don't do it. Don't do it.
Forget the line. Forget the line. I've been good on this stuff when it comes to ending these streaks for these teams. The bad teams.
All right.
I'm going all in on the money line, minus 122. I believe in the Rockets tonight more than Murph believes in Jakob Poeltl, more than Bryan believes in the Utah Jazz, more than Jarod will ever believe in the Boston Celtics, or even I believe in the Los Angeles Clippers. The Rockets end the 18-game loser streak tonight at home. Good times in H-Town. $100 on the Rockets. Bang it, book it right here. You heard it from me first.
Shout out to Steven Silas.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steven Silas. He gets it done.
That dude, poor guy.
Go. Kept it 100. Putting 100 on one game.
I like it, man.
Why they set my man up like that, man?
Listen, you know how they do black people out here in these streets?
Yeah, he ain't never getting another job.
Oh, never.
Watch.
Never.
They'd be like, his career record is 18 and 80.
And it's like, yeah, look at them scrub ass dudes you got him coaching out here.
He's out there the other night coaching.
Jay Sean, take a play, guys. I'm just saying.
I see someone got the stimulus check. Yo, Antonio about to wild out. And
put that stimmy on it.
I don't believe in the Rockets that much.
People, if the internet memes about the stimmies have been hilarious. Like I've been dying looking at some of those joints.
including Brian that's up the other day with the scene where Avon and String
with the low rises
in Baltimore, and I was sitting there like, if you feel like you're balling with the stimmy, like that's not the place you want to walk.
Yeah,
like, it'll get you that kind of housing.
Yeah, you get a nice low rise special with that stimmy. Let me tell you.
You guys got to think big, man. You know what I mean? Like,
you thinking about investing in some G packs in the low rises and moving that workout? Okay,
G-Pack.
Bulletproof windows.
Yeah, okay. Oh man, y'all are crazy. Look. It should be a quiet night of viewing in the NBA, but we'll still have our eyes peeled to it because look at Murph. He can't wait to get back and watch the kids get exploited some more in Indianapolis.
Pointing them damn kids, man.
There's a pause. No games going on right now. We good.
Okay. Yes, our show conveniently was in the time that worked for Murph to give you his undivided attention. Any thoughts, last thoughts from you guys or any from our viewers about the trade deadline coming up? That you like to see? Any teams you'd like to see make a move? I mean, are you going to say Miami?
I don't know about moves, but there's something Brian did said earlier that is worth repeating. As much as I do believe in Utah as a good and a quality basketball team, this does happen every year, right? A team races out to a lead, and everybody's like, yo, this team's legit. And it's like, yo, we all know we got to dial this back, right? Like, no, 40 games, that's a hell of a sample size. It's not 10, it ain't 5. All right. They've been legit for a 40-game stretch. So nothing to sneeze at. But we'll really see over this next second half of the season, when everybody shakes out where the seeds are, right? Lakers go on like a 15 out of 16 win streak, and you're like, oh, okay. Right? Like, then we'll really see who's who and what's what.
I should be noted about Bryan. I think this should be noted. Bryan was one of the people last year. We're not doing the show. Bryan was very high on the Heat, but he was not just high on the Heat. He was very high on the Heat Bucks matchup. And I was down on the Bucks. The Bucks were a team I did not believe in the regular season. And I'm not necessarily comparing them exactly to the Jazz, but I do see where Bryan's coming from, all jokes aside, where they could be that kind of team where a lot of people get behind them, but they're not really that team. I still don't think the Bucks are that team. I still don't believe in the Bucks.
The advantage I'll give Utah is Quinn at least is willing to make adjustments. We've seen that.
Point.
Bud, on the other hand, shit.
But also, if Anthony Davis were healthy, they wouldn't be first place in the West. So we wouldn't even be talking about him in the same way. So it basically comes down to that. If Anthony Davis is healthy, the Lakers are going to win the West. If he's not healthy, then it's wide open.
I also think we're generally just a little too excited about Jordan Clarkson. And we also have to acknowledge how much he has on his plate. Like, this is 2012, 2013 J.R. Smith to me. J.R. Smith was awesome that year coming off the bench, was second fiddle to Melo in that awesome Knicks offense. As one of my favorite teams in my lifetime that I've seen, because they were just so fun to watch and they were ahead of their time in a lot of ways. But when it got down to it, J.R. Smith was terrible in the playoffs because he had to carry more of an offensive load because they couldn't quite figure things out against Indiana. I just sort of see the same thing happening with this Utah team. Now, that Knicks team didn't have Rudy Gobert, but Tyson Chandler in that era was pretty close. It's pretty close. You know what I mean? It was pretty close.
I'm disrespecting Rudy like that.
No,
Joel
Embiid just gave Rudy Gobert 40 and whatever.
Joel Embiid might be the damn league MVP. Like, right? Joel Embiid we talking about. I will say.
He would have gave Chandler 42.
Yeah,
exactly. Rudy Gobert.
Hey, don't be disrespecting Tyson Chandler like that.
Yeah,
y'all talking about him like he's Jakob Poeltl or something. Like, come on.
Right.
I will say
he is
this.
now.
J.R. Smith, we know why J.R. Smith didn't perform well in the playoffs. Rihanna told us, don't blame me. His bum ass was out in the club partying last night when he should have been at home.
Yo,
That's
you remember that song they had about him?
So right.
That song was fire.
I know that shit popped up on my playlist the other day. I was rocking to that.
Jordan Clarkson don't got a fucking song.
Yeah, because he's Jordan Clarkson and he plays for the team that Bryan believes in so much, the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, he plays in Utah. You ain't getting no songs in Utah.
No songs in Utah.
It'd be like a country western song.
Yeah, he might get that. All right, we want to thank everybody for rocking with us on this episode of NBA Picks and Props. We will be back next week, and it'll be right after the NBA trade deadline. So we'll have a lot to talk about how those trades or no trades affected championship odds. There'll be a ton to talk about on that and so much more. A lot of college basketball for people to watch tonight. A lot of NBA, even through the early parts of next week for people to watch and bet on and look at all these different things. So definitely stay tuned to that. So for Bryan Fonseca, who looks like he's about to disappear into the dark, for my man Jamal Murphy,
album cover
to get back to college basketball, and Jarod Hector, I'm Dexter Henry. Until next time on NBA Picks.